We're recording. Hello.
Yeah. Hi, folks. Experiencing a little bit of trouble with the technical side of things, but we're going to start anyway here. I want to thank all of those who signed up, and if you were not able to get on, this is being recorded, and I will pass that along to people who have signed up. A little bit about ourselves, AlmonTravel. We've been in business since 2003. Over that time, we got into it after I finished teaching high school. I just wanted to make enough money to be able to do some traveling, and my heavens, it became very successful, and we're very pleased with that. We do have specialties, but are not limited to that. If you're celebrating an anniversary, for example, and want to take your extended family and friends, invite them along with you. We certainly have lots of experience booking groups, have done 130 destination weddings up to this point. If you are interested in going to Florida, we specialize in theme parks, and again, extended families would be great for that. We've visited all of the theme parks and have a pretty good knowledge of them. Caribbean vacations, because of our specialty in destination weddings, we've visited most of the popular areas down in the Caribbean area, and have visited a lot of resorts in each of these areas too, and certainly can help you with a family-friendly resort or an adult-only resort. We've done river cruises, 10 different itineraries around the world, 3 in Asia, 1 in Egypt, 1 on the Mississippi, and the rest of them in Europe. Lots of experience to be able to pass on there. Also, ocean cruises. We've done many of the popular itineraries available for ocean cruises, but not the one that we're about to present tonight, that's for sure. Looking forward to when Brenda ultimately takes over from me. Travel conditions, we know that in Nova Scotia we're keeping a tight hold on things, and we know that the vaccination program is rolling out, and probably by 4 to 6 months from now there should be a really good effort in to have Canadians vaccinated, so that maybe our lives will return a bit more to normal. And being normal, obviously, many people like to travel, and we hope that people will be comfortable planning their travel. Our plan with CARP, when we were invited to be the representative for CARP back in November of last year, was to develop a series of group bookings, coach tours, cruises, and so on, and invite people to join them. But of course, we're not limited to that. Certainly, we can book your individual vacation as well as form groups. We're also working on several presentations that will focus on the solo traveler. We've already done one with a river cruise, and we have a couple more planned. So anybody in that situation, traveling by yourself, certainly that is something that we'll be able to help you with as well. This is the 14th presentation of about 20 planned so far, which occur at 6:30 every Tuesday, now into late February. Note that tonight's presentation will be the last until January the 12th. Please check the website, which is just above the CARP and AlmonTravel logo on the screen right now, to check on recorded versions as well as upcoming presentations. Our connection with CARP is through Bill Van Gorder, who is the COO and Chief Policy Officer for CARP National, as well as the founding chair for CARP Nova Scotia, in addition to being the senior spokesperson for CARP in the Maritimes. I grew to know Bill through the charitable organization that he developed back with a partner, and called 100 Men Who Give a Damn, and I was served on the board. The organization raised over $350,000 in donations for charitable organizations in the Halifax area, and all of that money went to the charitable organizations. There was no overhead whatsoever, and I'm quite proud of that. Anyway, in the relationship that we developed there, Bill also asked us to arrange a couple of trips for him, and we did that, and they were very satisfactory to him. And as a result, he asked us if we would be interested in being the exclusive travel agency for CARP Nova Scotia, and of course we said yes. So that's where we are right now. I would like to take just a moment to introduce Brenda Yeomans, Celebrity Cruises Strategic Market Manager for Canada. she's going to be interested in, introducing us to a bucket list destination, the Galapagos Islands. And this, as I say, is not something that we have experienced ourselves personally, as most of the presentations have been. But I'm very much looking forward to what Brenda passes along to us. Brenda, can you take it over?
Thank you, Annie. And it gives me a great honor to be invited to present the last exciting adventure of the year. And what a year it has been, right, Danny?
Yes, it is.
You know, luckily for both of us, we've been fortunate enough to travel a lot. And so, you know, taking a little break this year, you know, to spend some family time, not such a bad thing. But I can tell you I'm itching and ready to go. And so thank you once again. It's an honor to be here to present the Galapagos. And one of the reasons why I thought this would be really great is this is one of those bucket list transformational experiences, going to the Galapagos. And you need to go to the Galapagos while you're still able to, because it is, it's adventurous. And you'll see from what I'm about to present, you really want to be able to experience everything. So you need to be in good shape. So celebrity, we've been going to the Galapagos now for 16 years. And as I mentioned, I was fortunate enough to go there 2 years ago, and I took my, how old would they have been? 13-year-old twins with me on this trip. And I waited 13 years in order to go to the Galapagos because I wanted to go somewhere in the world that my kids hadn't been to yet to experience it together for the first time. So when you're planning your trip of a lifetime or one of these bucket list destinations, think about who you want to experience it with. And for me, it was taking my kids. And celebrity, we really were the first to offer a truly seamless, all-inclusive, environmentally conscious vacation to the Galapagos Islands. And there's lots of tour operators, well, I shouldn't say lots, but there are different tour operators in the Galapagos, but we have been offering that new luxury celebrity style experience in the Galapagos now for 16 years. And what's really wonderful about it is we take care of everything for you. It's all inclusive. Now, I will tell you that the cruise itself, Galapagos, they're all 7 nights. And in 7 nights, it's like an African safari, except on water. You're going to see so many animals. And the cruise is 7 nights, but you're stopping in sometimes 2, 3 different areas every day. So you'll stop in the morning, you'll snorkel, you'll hike, and then the ship will reposition while you have a shower, you have lunch, you relax, and it will go to another stop. And then maybe you'll do something else later on in the evening. So it's very, very busy. And by the end of the day, you know, you're ready for a great dinner and just to relax. But it truly is all inclusive. So it includes, like, for example, 10-night package. It includes your pre and post experience in Quito, Ecuador, your return flight to Baltra. So you would fly from, say, Halifax to Quito in Ecuador, and you'd stay there nights, and then we take you on a charter flight with all celebrity guests to Baltra, and it's about a 3-hour flight over to Baltra, and then from there we take you onto the ship, onto our ships in the Galapagos. So then it includes your 7-night Galapagos cruise, which all of your meals, it's open seating on board, all of your beverages, all your tips, your gratuities, all the shore excursions, onboard programming, your naturalists. So we have the Galapagos Natural Park trained naturalists that live on board the ship. You'll dine with them, you can socialize with them. They're very cool, very unique. And then they'll take you ashore on the different shore excursions and show you and talk to you about the environment, the island you're visiting, the flora, the animals, what's happening. We also include all your snorkeling equipment. We include wetsuits as well, not only to, you know, keep you warm, but to protect you too from the environment. Not that it's dangerous, but I'm a scuba diver myself, and it's always nice to have, you know, just a little layer of protection on. Remember, you're getting upfront and personal with the animals in the water because they're not afraid of you. So you could have a sea lion swimming up to you, or turtles, or penguins, all sorts of fun and exciting things. We have binoculars for your use on board, so you can check out the birds and the animals and everything that's happening from afar. Bathrobes, their internet service, the Galapagos National Park entrance fee and tourist cards. It's all included, which is really, really great. So for example, you'll never go to the Galapagos and just do a 7-night cruise. You could, but you wouldn't want to, because there's all these other things that have to be packaged and planned into getting to the Galapagos. And honestly, we really take care of our guests, and it's worry-free, and you're getting the celebrity luxury meals and treatment and hotels and escorts and the security from the moment you arrive at the airport, which we really enjoyed, because we arrived, we flew from Toronto via Panama to Quito. We got in about 9:30 at night, and the celebrity team were there to greet us at the airport and take us on our, you know, private transfer to the hotel. So you're met, taken care of, and you don't need to worry about a thing. So you stay 2 nights in Quito at a beautiful hotel, the JW Marriott Hotel, which I'll show you later. It's your 7-night Galapagos cruise, and then 1 or 2 nights post at the JW Marriott, just depending on what time your return flight goes home. And then we also have other packages, which will include your luxury train if you're going to Machu Picchu, your connecting airfare, which I talked about, transfers, everything's escorted and taken care of. And just, you know, some of you are probably wondering, and this is early into the presentation, but what is a trip like this going to cost per person? And we have these great promotions going on right now where we include airfare from your hometown, or you can use your points as well for airfare, but we have a buy one, get one half off promotion. So depending on which ship you choose, whether you choose our expedition, which I'll introduce you to shortly, it'll run around $14,000 for 2 people for a 10-night package. That's in Canadian dollars, including your air, say from Halifax, your cruise, your 10-night package to Galapagos. Or if you're going to pick FLORA, which I'm sure you'll be very interested in, it's our most luxurious, newest ship, it would cost twice that amount. Okay, so that's just an example. Now, one of the things I do regret is when we went to Galapagos, we didn't go to Machu Picchu, and my kids were missing 2 weeks of school, so that's why we didn't do Machu Picchu. But if you're going for just one trip only to do it all, do include Machu Picchu. Now, we always, Danny had a great question he asked me earlier on is, you know, what about, like, you know, would you do Machu Picchu, say, at the beginning of the trip, or why is it always at the end of the trip? And when you're going to the Galapagos Islands, you need to make sure you get on your flight and you make it to the ship, because if you miss the ship, then you really miss your whole trip in the Galapagos Islands, because it's not like anywhere else where you can take another flight to catch up to where the ship is, because it's totally uninhabited. You're going to islands where it's only animals. There's no airports. There's nothing there except for Baltra, where we start out. So that's why for a trip like this with Machu Picchu, you're going to do that the end of your whole trip. So it starts out the same. You do 2 nights pre and Quito in Ecuador. You have your 7-night Galapagos cruise. And then when you get off, that's when we fly you from Baltra to Lima in Peru. And then you're going to stay there for 2 nights. And then we take you to the Sacred Valley. You're there for 2 nights. Your 2 nights in Cusco. And then your 1 night in Lima. And then you fly out. And it includes your train, it includes all your meals, it includes everything. The only thing you need to worry about is all your shopping. And I have to tell you, the shopping, Danny, in Ecuador, and well, I haven't been to Peru, but the beautiful like coffee and chocolate and the alpaca sweaters and the scarves, and it's so inexpensive and it's just great quality. I didn't have enough time for shopping, so I got to go back and do it again. And next time, go and do Machu Picchu. So some of you are probably wondering, maybe you're wondering, where exactly are Galapagos Islands? So this gives you a really good glimpse of where they're located. And you can see Quito there in Ecuador. And then you see further down, you see Peru, where you'd fly to if you were going to Machu Picchu at the end. But the Galapagos Islands are about 600 miles off of the coast of Ecuador, and they are something very special. And these islands are protected. Every year, our company has to ask the government for permission to operate and renew our tour operator license in the Galapagos Islands. And they only give out, it's not infinite amount of tour operators that are allowed in the Galapagos. It's very controlled. So every year we cross our fingers and hope we will get renewed tourist permission to operate in the Galapagos Islands, because the one thing we want to make sure of, and of course, the Galapagos Islands, is to make sure it stays in the same state and stays preserved, and we're not ruining the environment. We're helping and sustaining it for the future. So your trip, as I mentioned, you fly into Quito, and this is the hotel that you're staying at, and it's located in an amazing area. You could walk to the markets. It's very safe. Everything's really close, and the taxis there are very inexpensive as well. But this is a 5-star, amazing hotel. The food service, it is like you're on a celebrity ship. The different exotic fruits and the meals that you have for breakfasts every morning. And then we do take you to very unique restaurants for lunch and for dinner. We take you on tours. You get to go to the to be on the actual equator line. You get to do all the experiments there on the equator line to see what happens if you pour water. And it'll go the opposite way on the other, walking blindfolded, trying to walk on the actual equator, feeling that force. It's an amazing experience. So great. We feed you, we entertain you on the pre and post tours. And then, you know, Quito is just an amazing city filled with tons of architecture. And as I mentioned, you have a little bit of time for shopping while you're, you know, on the tour, but we keep you very busy. So when you fly in 2 days prior, you have these busy tours that you're on. We're feeding you with meals, taking you out to interesting restaurants. And then we're taking you to the airport to fly you to the Galapagos Islands. And then we take you on a special chartered flight, and we feed you on board there. And then you're going to get off in Baltra, and we take you through customs and all the procedures there. And before you know it, the ships are, you have to take a tender out to join the ship. But when you arrive at the airport, the ships, you'll see them, they're right there. So it's all very close. We get all the luggage onto the ships first, and then we take you all on board. And really your adventure starts right on that very first day, I can tell you that we saw, right when we were getting on the Zodiacs to go to the ship, there's tons of sea lions and there's birds, and your experience with the animals starts right away. And I love this statement here. There's a difference between visiting and experiencing, because you are going to see incredible wildlife. And you can see here the groups are very, very small. This is a ranch that you all will have a chance to visit, and you're wandering acres and acres with all these tortoises roaming free. And when they roam, of course, they're not galloping around, they're moving very slowly, and they're huge. And it's very interesting. And so you get to experience some culture, you have some lunch. It's a wonderful, wonderful part of your tour. And the other thing I want to say is, when you're on the excursions, like every day you're doing tours, and you get to kind of pick what you want to do, or you can do everything. So there's easy snorkeling, there's advanced snorkeling. I can tell you, you're going to want to get in the water. We're going to teach you how to snorkel if you don't know how, because you're swimming with penguins. You have the smallest penguins in the world that are swimming past you, and sea lions, and you're swimming with turtles in the water and all of these fish. You'll have birds that will land hats if you have a wide brimmed hat. Like, be prepared, anything can happen. You also do coastal explorations. You can do kayaking, so we'll take you on tours and point out animals and birds, along the coast. You can see here a couple wearing the wetsuits that we give you, and there's hiking. So there's short hikes, there's medium hikes, and there's more advanced hikes. So you can choose whatever level you're at. And usually every day you have a snorkel and you have a couple different hikes to do. So what happens is the naturalists, the night before, you'll have cocktails, they'll talk to you about what you're going to see and experience the next day. And then you sign up for the short excursions you want to participate in. And then the next morning, you arrive and off you go on your trip. So it's wonderful. It's small groups. So, you'll usually have between 8 to 9 people per naturalist. So in effect, the Galapagos was really made for social distancing, because it's you and all these animals. There's no other people. When you're visiting on these different stops, it's just you and the animals on the locations. And you're going to see things like, here's an example in Santa Cruz where you see the amazing tortoises, and you'll see all the different types of tortoises and why they are developed the way they have, depending on where their food sources are. So you're really seeing evolution up close. This is very cool in Fernandina and Island, seeing all the iguanas, the lizards there. The marine iguanas are especially interesting because they're never supposed to be swimmers and getting their food, their algae from underneath the water. And they actually develop a hole through time in the top of their head, because as they're eating the food underwater, they're filling up their stomachs with all this salt water, which they can't process. So when they come up above the water, they blow out all the salt water from their stomach. So, this happened over time because of their food source, of where they had to find their food. So it's pretty crazy to see these iguanas riding the surf along with sea lions and birds on the shoreline. And then here's, of course, the flightless cormorant that you'll see, diving so deep down for fish. And then, of course, the beautiful blue-footed boobies, red-footed boobies, and the Nazca boobies. When we were in the Galapagos Islands, we were seeing the Nazca boobies at this time. They were preparing their nests for the babies to be born, for the eggs to be laid, etc. And these birds, I can tell you, like, where in the world do birds walk towards you? Like nowhere. And you'll have birds that will walk right up to you. They'll land on your hat. They are not afraid of you. None of the animals are afraid of you. They do not walk away. They walk towards you and they're checking you out. So that's what's so cool. The waved albatross. Experiences like this, you're going to be right next to all the sea lions. And here's a bull who's, showing off. And that was quite fun to see. But they're all just wandering around. And sometimes you might see an iguana sitting on the back of a sea lion. You just never know what you're going to experience. But you can see, here's an example of a very small group. I have to say that you're going to get amazing photography. You need to take a lot of discs with you, so you can load up on all your pictures and video, because you're going to see things like this underwater. They're going to be checking you out. They're as interested in you as you are in them. And it's not like maybe on an African safari. Well, I haven't been on one yet, but are you going to see animals? It's like there are so many animals. It's crazy. And, one of the big questions we get is, when is the best time to go to the Galapagos Islands? And really, it's whenever you have the time to go. I know Danny can share with you a chart that shows you the wildlife calendar. Like maybe some of you want to see a certain time where some animals are mating or they're having babies, or certain things are happening. So you can plan your trip that way. Or, the weather, it's on the equator, so the weather is always really great. But, any time of the year is really a great year to go. And we've talked a lot about seeing the animals, being on the excursions, and that experience. And I have to tell you that I did mention you want to be in good shape to be able to walk around, because this isn't like walking around a regular island. This is untouched, unspoiled. We do not create pathways. Everything is natural. So when you're seeing all the lizards, you're walking on volcanic rock. We do have walking sticks. Some people bring walking sticks with them, but you want comfortable shoes to wear. You want to have good balance, because you are in the wilderness. It is a really true safari, but on water, and then with some hiking on land as well. So it's a wonderful experience. And like I said, you're very busy every day with all the short excursions, coming back, having a shower, having lunch in between, relaxing before you go on your adventure in the afternoon. But when you're on board the ships, you're going to be on these amazing vessels. And we have 3 that you can choose from. So just depending on, what type of experience you want. We have our baby, the Exploration. This is a 16-passenger catamaran. And so this is perfect for those of you that maybe want to go with friends and family, or a family reunion, and you want the whole boat to yourself, the whole catamaran. I will tell you that this is more for sailors because she is smaller. So you will feel the ocean, depending on the seas, of course. And even though you're busy sailing around the Galapagos Islands, it's pretty protected, but sometimes you are further out and it can get a little rocky. So the Exploration, beautiful vessel. I've toured her. This is where you're part of the crew, part of the family. And it's a wonderful vessel. So 16 passengers. Then we have the Celebrity Expedition, which was our first vessel we started out with 16 years ago in the Galapagos Islands. Of course, she's had quite a few different upgrades and refurbishments. She takes 48 guests. Now, before FLORA came out, our newest vessel, she took 100 guests. So now, as you can imagine, the space that you have with only 48 guests on board is amazing. A lot of people ask about, because they always want verandas, and I don't blame you for that. But in the Galapagos, say on expedition, there's only a few staterooms that have verandas, but the ships are so small that you're only a couple steps away from being out in the open. Like, you're on your own private yacht. That's what it really feels like. So, so a lot of the rooms are with windows, ocean view, like on the expedition. And even on exploration, I think there's 2 rooms that have like little outdoor verandas. But if you're a person who really, you know, you always, when you go on vacation, you want to treat yourself and you really want that luxurious treatment, then you need to spoil yourself with Celebrity FLORA. And I'm going to show you why. And here's just some specs on the exploration. And you can see 320 tons. So she's the baby. And these are the 2, you can see there, the 2 rooms that have their little decks. And then the other rooms don't. Here's the Celebrity Expedition. Okay. And still, these are small ships, right? Or large yachts. Let's just call them yachts. But you're really going to be, you know, part of the family on board. Here's some pictures of the expedition. So you can see the beautiful deck areas, areas where you have lunch and dinners outside, having a glass of wine. The Discovery Lounge where you have cocktails. We have our pre-show. All your naturalists will do all the speaking in there. Here's the dining room. So when you're dining on board, it's all open seating. And what happens is the naturalists do the presentation over cocktail hour, and then you have dinner and dinner served to you. And it's totally celebrity dining. Now, I will tell you that the food sources we're very sustainable. We source everything from Ecuador and the Galapagos Islands, and the cuisine is very fresh and local based, but done celebrity style. So you're going to have a really great experience. And here's a wonderful view of the accommodations on board expedition. But this is the ship I really wanted to spend time on, or our newest yacht, and this is FLORA. And we say this is where evolution meets revolution. This ship was purposely built for the Galapagos Islands. Everything about her was made specifically to sail in the Galapagos Islands. And really, you can see all of the staterooms have floor-to-ceiling windows and verandas. So you feel like you're always outside. You have a beautiful view of the island all the time. And there's some really unique things about FLORA. First of all, she takes 100 guests maximum, so 50 suites. It's an all-suite ship. And there's 10 naturalists on board. And we have 6 Nirvana yacht tenders. And we'll talk about those in a minute. But here's a beautiful little video showcasing the wonderful FLORA. So you can see the whole design and decor of her is all using natural fabrics, woods, art, all sourced from Ecuador and the Galapagos Islands. A big part of our celebrity brand is, of course, sustainability, taking care of the environment and the oceans we sail in. And so you can really see this in the decor, and you can see how lovely and spacious all the areas are on board. And, you know, if you're going to go to the Galapagos Islands and just go once, then you spoil yourself and you do it right and you get in, you stay in one of these suites, and you can see there's a great spa on board, there's a little fitness room, and then just look at the beautiful outdoor areas where you can relax in between stops, and in the evening with stargazing. Here's the Discovery Lounge, dining outside, the Ocean Grill, all the little great places to relax and have naps, the observatory at the front of the ship. And then this is Galapagos Glamping, where you could spend the night sleeping under the stars. You'll have a butler that will bring you all your food service and then serve you breakfast in the morning. So beautiful, very romantic, or it could even be a fun, I do it with my girlfriend, you know, to do a fun adventure, Galapagos Glamping. So that's Celebrity Flora. It was destination inspired design. So we had amazing designers, you can see from the artwork. And I wanted to spend some time talking to you about the marina, because this is really important. You can see how the Nirvana yacht tenders just park right at the foot of the steps. So it's easy to just walk right onto those, onto the tenders, which this is your transportation to and from 2 or 3 times a day on the yacht, because there's no piers, there's no docking. It is an adventure, and this makes it so easy. And I will tell you that if you're on the expedition, it's different because you're going on gangways down the side of the ship, which is still safe and easy. But this is the best. This is the ultimate, of course, the marina. And you can see they're zipping off their dry suits, their wets from snorkeling. And what happens is when you come back from being ashore, and especially from the snorkeling adventures, you can shower off, you rinse off your equipment, and then it gets hung up right there on the marina deck, and then it dries out for the next day for your next adventure. So it's a beautiful space for all of that. Some of you are probably asking, well, what if I really don't want to go in the water? Will I still enjoy the Galapagos experience? Well, there were a couple people on our trip that weren't water lovers, but their families were snorkeling, and they would sit on the tender and they would see the penguins, the sea lions, the animals, the turtles from the side of the tender. You know, personally, there's nothing like seeing it from underneath, but you still can participate without getting wet. But I'd encourage you to give it a try. But you can see these yacht tenders are very comfortable and spacious and great. And then Darwin's Cove, the beautiful artwork. So lots of great places for you to relax. The Discovery Lounge, where all the presentations take place, talking about the next day, the Seaside Restaurant. Now on FLORA, this is the lab, and this is why I think FLORA is so, another reason why she's so cool, is we have ongoing live experiments and monitoring from FLORA. Scientists from all around the world have access to this information in real time. We're studying the temperature of the water around the Galapagos Islands, the flora, everything, and you get to partake in all the science and the experiments and things that are happening with the naturalists and the scientists on board. So I think that for me, this is very, very cool. Your naturalists as well, I think I mentioned at the beginning, you dine with them, you can have cocktails with them, you're ashore with them, and each one has a different story to tell. They're so informative. They bring to life the history of the flora, the fauna, the different species of animals and of birds, and they really, they're just amazing storytellers and so knowledgeable and so enjoyable to be around. I have to share a story. So I have girl-boy twins, and my son is one of these guys who likes to wander off. And when you're on the tours with the naturalists, you have to stay with them. You cannot wander off and make your own path. There are specific pathways to follow. Now, pathways, not permanent, but pathways, because we can't disrupt the animal life. And if somebody goes off track, we could get fined and not be able to go into that area again. So they're very strict. And, you know, 13-year-olds, their attention span, some people ask a lot of questions, and the naturalist could be standing in one spot for 10 minutes talking about a particular subject. So that was a long time. And so Logan started walking ahead. And of course, the naturalist said, Logan, you know, come back. You're not allowed to do that. You got to stick with me. So did he ever stick with her? And he asked her so many questions that by the end of the tour, she goes, oh my gosh, I don't have kids. And she's like, I'm so worn out. He just really gave it to me with all these questions. And I'm like, anyways, it was very funny. So you're going to get a lot of information, and it's very enjoyable. Here's great relaxation areas, a beautiful little dipping pool, and you know, wonderful lounging areas on board, the beautiful FLORA, the bars. Remember, everything's all included. And then this is Galapagos Glamping, underneath the stars, very romantic, or not romantic if you want to do it with a friend, but just a fun experience. We have stargazing on board. Remember, you're in the middle of all these islands. There's no buildings, there's no lights, and it's beautiful for stargazing. A gentleman on board, he brought this particular device that I think he uploaded information into it in advance, the area that we're going to. So when he looked up in the sky through these binoculars, it would tell him exactly the stars that he was looking at and the history, which I thought was really cool, because, you know, unless you have somebody telling you, which we do have some formal stargazing, but if you're doing it on your own, you don't know what you're looking at, but this was helpful. And then the accommodations. So, you know, when you're staying on board FLORA, you know, you have very large space, you know, full suite automation. Now, you know, on board all of our vessels in the Galapagos, you have filtered water refilling stations. There's zero plastic, there is none of that on board. We're ultra sustainable, but you know, your laundry service is included, complimentary backpacks, high-speed Wi-Fi, you know, premium linens, pillow menu, in-suite room service, you know, TV. I'm going to say, if you have time for TV, I mean, we didn't watch any TV. We were too busy socializing with the guests and being with the naturalists in the evening. But, you know, champagne upon arrival, minibar offerings. So really luxurious amenities. And you can see from the penthouse suite, you can really spoil yourself, to the royal suite, you know, looking at the square footage. And then our sky suite with the infinite veranda. And then this is really like our lead-in. The sky suite is really our lead-in space that you would stay in, being on board FLORA. But just look at the decor, how beautiful and how natural it is. So there's something for everyone, all sorts of suite sizes. And then most importantly, leaving the world in a better place. So FLORA dynamic position system, we're never anchoring. You know, we have a water treatment system, reverse osmosis, you know, zero single-use plastics. We have solar panels on board. One of the cool things that we do is we're actually planting, we're reforesting in the Galapagos Islands. We've started up the own Galapagos tomato, farmers growing their own breed of tomatoes, which we in turn serve on board. We created a local fishery farming area for the fishermen. So we're really helping the locals as well in the Galapagos Islands. And then Dr. Ellen Prager, she does all of our programming for all of the Galapagos. She's an amazing scientist. And so whether you're on FLORA, on expedition, or on exploration, great programming. We've partnered with Frost and Earth Echo. The godmother is Yolanda Cacabades, and she's an amazing woman. If you wanted to go to the celebrity website and look up the Galapagos, there's some amazing videos and just on what she has done for the Galapagos Islands and Ecuador. She's an amazing woman. And then Francesca Bucci, she is the designer for FLORA. But, you know, all your menus, whether you're on FLORA or you're on expedition, it is amazing. So here's just a little video now, which you will have access to as well. But I just wanted to talk through this. This is just showing you some of the sites, what you're going to experience in the Galapagos. And this, you're going to take pictures. You're going to see these animals up front and personal, as I said before. So there's great hikes that you go on, great water experiences, you know, whether you're on FLORA or you're on exploration or expedition. And this is just taking you once again through a little tour of the beautiful FLORA. You can see the islands there. You can see the different diverse landscapes. You know, one day you might feel like you're walking on the moon, and another day you're going to be in this giant rainforest. But you're going to see these phenomenal animals in their own environment walking around. And here's just a little bit on, you know, talking about the inclusive tours and the shore excursions that you're going to have. We saw a lot of turtles. It was turtle mating season when we were in the Galapagos, and so that was really fun. Snorkeling with about 200 turtles, I swear to gosh, in the waves, which was, you almost felt intimidated. Oh my gosh, it's us and all these turtles, and you didn't want to touch them, but you're busy swimming with them. But you can see just how fun and how close you are with all of these animals. You hear them talking to each other, then they might talk to you. So it's, and the naturalists, they know these animals, and sometimes they talk to them. But you can see just the diverse fauna and flora and plants that you're going to see. Here's another picture of the lab. All the beautiful sites. Just very, it's a busy trip, but it's also very relaxing and it's very calming. And I think at the end of each day, you might write a journal, you might just reflect on what you've just seen and experienced, because some of the things that you're seeing, experiencing, they really touch you emotionally, because you're really seeing evolution in its own environment there. And it's like nothing I've ever experienced anywhere in the world, for sure. So, and I think what I loved about it was so, there just wasn't a lot of people, right? I mean, it's your group, and there's just, you just really felt like you were in this, on this other planet. You're on this other planet, and it's just you and 28 other people, or however many people are on the ship. So this is just showing you really the 3 ships we have. There's the cruises are 7 nights. You can do northern or southern loops or inner or outer loops, right? Depending on which ship you go on, and 10, 11, and 16 night packages. So you're probably going to be asking Danny, hey, Danny, should I go on the northern or southern loop, or should I do the inner or outer loop? And as I mentioned, every loop is great because we're going to always touch upon, take you so you can see the blue-footed boobies and the sea lions and the tortoises. Like, you're going to see all the big animals that are very particular to the Galapagos. So it doesn't really matter which one that you do, but you can do some studying in advance if you want to try to choose. The other question you're going to ask, Danny, is what should I wear? And it really is casual. You want to wear comfortable clothing, neutral colored clothing, and things that you can take off, things that dry easy. You want a small backpack because you're going to have your water bottle with you, your camera with you, your sunglasses, your sunblock. Yes, I make sure you have a plastic bag or something to put your camera or your phone in, you know, to keep it resistant to sand and everything else. You know, did I bring the right clothing on the trip? I think I did. The one thing I really loved that I took was my Crocs for getting in and out of the tenders, because sometimes you have a wet landing where you get your feet in the water and they just dry out very easily. But when you're going hiking, you really do want those hiking runners. And then really it's casual, like in the evening, and there's no, you know, there's no dressing up in the Galapagos for sure. So, and what happens is you probably have a bigger suitcase with things to fit all your shopping in from Quito, or maybe you're going on to Machu Picchu. And when you leave the JW Marriott, you take your smaller bag with you to the Galapagos cruise, and you can leave everything else in storage at the JW Marriott, because you don't need so much on your adventure in the Galapagos. And then you can come back to get everything else at the JW Marriott afterward. So that's smaller. And then what's the weather like? When's the best time? We went in January, and that's just because it was the time that we could get on and get away, because it was hard for us to, because it's always really booked. It was hard to get on. So January was great. It was unusually dry. Normally there's a little bit more rain, and the water was quite warm. We always still wore wetsuits in the water, just because it's good to protect yourself and just to wear them. And March to April, the warmest but wettest months, and July to December, the drier season. And sometimes the water's a bit cooler then, but I can tell you a lot of my Canadian groups have gone in October and November. That tends to be kind of the lower season, like for pricing too. And January, December, holiday time tends to be the higher season. And then I did talk a little bit about the difference of itineraries, but you know, every itinerary is designed by the natural wildlife and the Galapagos natural. They regulate where we go, how many guests, and they rotate the itineraries around. So they really tell us where we can go. But I can tell you that our satisfaction rate is almost like 100%. We can never be perfect, but people are, you know, they're amazed no matter what loop, itinerary, time they go, they come back really feeling blessed to have experienced such amazing wonder, and to just see evolution in for real, upfront and personal. And you're going to want to go back. Now it's been 2 years since I've been, and I'm going to go back on FLORA. So you want to come, Danny?
Sounds great. I'd love to.
So that's, there's so much more, and I'm sure you have can do lots of follow-up, and you have lots of things that you can send to them, anybody who's interested for follow-up, and with our promos. And I'm here to help you.
Thank you. Brenda, I want to thank you very much for all of the information. This is a new itinerary for me, and I was just wide-eyed looking at it, and I'd seen the presentation before, but your narration has illuminated it wonderfully for us. It certainly sounds like sustainable tourism at its best, and I'm thinking that we've visited Costa Rica, which sounds somewhat similar in certainly the climate and the temperature and so on. And layering is always a good thing to keep in mind when you're traveling there. If this is a bucket list trip for any viewers here, it certainly seems to me as though it's something you ought not to put off for too long. You have to be in reasonably good shape to get onto the little tenders. The walking that has to be done is also something that you don't. It doesn't appear as though it's at all for anybody that has any mobility issues. So if this is a bucket list trip, it's something you want to consider very soon. I just want to take a note before concluding that we will be taking a break from presentations till January the 12th at 6:30 p.m. when we will find out about Jamaica's other 5 adult-only resort chain, the 4 couples resorts, which are located on the Negril and Ocho Rios sides of the islands. We personally experienced all 4 of them and attest to the high-quality experience that you're sure to enjoy. Again, Brenda, thank you very much. Despite our technical difficulties, I was just totally engrossed by what you had to reveal to us with this presentation. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Bon voyage, everyone.